Hey, this is the good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I am here with the very good Terry Dean. How are you, Terry?
I am doing excellent today.
I'm doing excellent too, and I'm really looking forward to going through this with you because this is the beginning of our growth acceleration system education. Show people how to turn their passion for marketing business into a lucrative, rewarding, and fun career. And essentially, we're going to be talking to people who are marketing and business junkies and show them how they can help other businesses for a living with proven systems, show them how to get clients, show them how to find their business niche, and most importantly, create the financial rewards to make the whole thing work. Does that sound right?
Yep, that's what we're doing here. Who this is really for, this isn't for everyone. This is specifically for those who love marketing and business, okay? Just like Glenn just said, you're a marketing junkie, and it's always kind of funny. I've helped a lot of different clients in different niches, both on and off the internet. We always ask them a question like, when we start trying to find their niche, what are you passionate about? What are you excited about? And there's always a portion of my clients that I've dealt with that come back with the answer, well, I'm really passionate about business. I'm passionate about marketing, and this is what I get most excited about. And both you and I fit into that category also, Glenn, that we get most excited about business and marketing itself, the systems that we use in place, and really building businesses. That's the part that we love.
Besides the fact that business itself, I really find probably the most exciting, there's another aspect of it which makes it very valuable. And there's probably about 12 pieces to any given pipeline, or any given marketing pipeline. There's the research and the branding and the web development and the copywriting and persuasion and Golden Glove, which we'll talk about today. And then there's managing the people and the infrastructure, and there's managing the capital and taking the risks, and probably about a dozen pieces to really put a business together and make it start making money. What's exciting for me is that from the outside, I can really see with great clarity what's wrong with any given existing funnel, what needs to happen, and I don't have to pause so much to think about, I'm going to have to do all 12 of those things, right? I can really focus the full fortitude of my intellect and my passion and my excitement on the big picture and trying to put it all together. Because of that, I can see things that other people can't see and get results immediately for businesses, whereas if I were to start a whole new business, I'd be talking about all that time to do the research and all that time to write the advertising, and there's a lot more excitement about the leverage point. You can have a 10-minute phone call with someone sometimes and bump their business by 20 or 30% and kind of feel like a superhero. And you can get paid for that, right? Clients that were apprehensive about paying your fee, when you look at their existing business and everything they're doing and you see that leverage point, all of a sudden you're really worth your salt in the first consultation. So that's what's exciting about it for me. Does that correspond with anything that you think about?
Definitely is. It's the fact that over the years we put together systems and we can, just like you said, look at a business very quickly and see a leverage point to increase their profits. And a second aspect for me really comes in the fact that I'm always curious about people and businesses, and that serves me in doing business coaching because I can look at the business and I ask the questions, because that's what a lot of people miss is business coaching. It's a little bit different than business consulting. It's definitely different than life coaching, but one thing that comes in is you're continually asking questions. And the reason is I'm asking questions of my clients looking for the points that we can increase their profits. And that curious nature of mine fits into this perfectly. And I find that most of the people who do best as a business coach have that same type of curious nature in them also.
The kind of people that like to solve puzzles, right?
Yep, that's exactly what we're doing. But the nice thing is we already have the systems in place so we know what we're looking for.
Exactly. The other thing that's really cool about coaching as a whole and business coaching in particular is that there's not a very long time to market. You could be up and running quickly because once you've really chosen the group of people that you want to go after and are working with proven systems to get clients, you don't have to invest a lot of money in inventory or a lot of money in research and development because basically you're the product, right? You don't have to pay a franchise fee. You don't have to go rent an office. You can work from anywhere. You can work on Skype or email or in person. The whole world is really an opportunity for you as a client. There are a lot of businesses that say that they're like that, but coaching is probably the fastest and easiest one that I've seen to get into like that.
It's kind of interesting because, again, I've been doing business coaching. Well, I've been online since 1996, but I've been business coaching since 2006. And with the business coaching, the clients that I've worked with and coached with who were starting from scratch, because I've coached both with established businesses and those who were starting from scratch online and they were looking for a business. And part of what led me to want to start talking about business coaching to others and about how you can be a business coach is the fact that the clients I've had who went from scratch to creating six-figure and higher businesses the fastest have been business coaches in a specific business niche. And we'll talk about that more on a different video, about niching your business coach. But it's just interesting that these are the ones we brought to success the fastest. And it's exactly for the reasons that you've just said. It's easy to target a very specific audience. It's low cost to generate the first leads. And because business coaching is a higher ticket service, you don't need a lot of clients to start earning good profits.
There's a return on investment argument that goes along with this sale. It's really easy to dollarize what you're offering. And I think there's probably nothing people will spend money for more easily than the opportunity to make more money. You know, most people know that I also run a life and personal coaching organization, and it's a little tougher. I gotta say, there's a lot of soul in what we do when I work with people who coaches other families who've been through tragedies in the home, and there are people who specialize in helping people over the loss of a loved one or a pet, and people that help others put their marriages back together. There's a lot of soul in that, but it's not that easy to make the return on investment argument. It's not that easy to do that. But with business coaching, the return on investment argument is so clear that you can charge higher fees, and as long as you're good, as long as you're using systems that actually get some quick wins for your clients, there's not really a lot of resistance for people to pay your fees. As a matter of fact, I think some people even start feeling guilty that they're not paying you enough.
That happens at times. They're guilty of not paying you enough. But what's interesting is if you're already working with an established business, and that's who most people should target as a business coach starting out, as you would target established businesses, you're going to find that with the right systems going in, you can often pretty much pay for your fee and more on the very first session you have with them, which at that point in time, it makes it a very easy decision for them to stay with you. And I have clients that come on a month-to-month basis with me, which means they sign up for just 1 month starting out, and they've been with me on that type of deal for 8 years.
You know, Terry, I have the same thing, and both of our systems are routinely sold out. It's very difficult to come and get either of us as a business coach personally. There are waiting lists for months, if not years. I actually haven't opened my business coaching for, oh my God, I think it's 2 years now. People on a waiting list for almost 2 years, maybe more than 2 years, because I just can't do it. I just can't handle the clients.
I mean, when I first started back in 2006, it was about 3 months before I sold out at first because I was coming back into business, and I came back into business without a list or anything else because I had sold my previous business. And it took about 3 months to fill up my coaching practice the first time. But since then, I've had the waiting list. And then specifically for the last 2 times that I took clients, we sold out the spaces in 15 minutes.
It's pretty cool. It really is pretty cool. So, Terry, should we talk a little bit more about who we are for those people that are new to us? And I think probably you should talk about who I am, and I should talk about who you are. Otherwise, my mother's going to call me and say, Glenn, I thought I told you to be modest.
Let's do it real quick, though, because I think most of our audience knows who we are. Basically, Glenn is the $30 million man. Between him and his companies, he sold over $30 million in consulting. And we're talking a lot of the major companies and major brand names that you know, like AT&T and Nextel, and a whole bunch of others that you can see on the page right there, instead of me going through and listing all of them. And in addition to this, when he first started, and when I first met him, he had come online, and he had been going to a lot of businesses himself, setting up a lot of businesses, proving his own research systems. And at that time, I think it was 18-plus successful businesses, which would mean higher by now that you've done, Glenn.
I stopped setting up business after business myself, and I just kind of focused on coaching other businesses and developing the coaching academy. But yes, 18 is a good number. I had 18 profitable businesses at one point.
It's a whole lot easier to be a business coach, isn't it, than run that many different businesses?
It really is.
And then before this, you had 1,000-plus clients in your psychology practice, didn't you?
Not all at the same time.
Well, I'm glad about that. You did have like 60 at one time.
No, over the course of the years that I worked. I had a 65-person practice at the time that I stopped. And I stopped, we had a financial crisis based upon a big mistake we made just before 9/11. We had a place in New York, and we were overinvested and had a really high nut, and people stopped coming to New York and that kind of thing. And I took a sabbatical, and I wound up never going back because I got kind of swept up in the world of marketing. But yes, I advertised as a marital and family therapist, mostly for couples. And I found that once I helped them resolve the conflicts, a lot of them wanted to keep working with me. And I couldn't, in all fairness, give them a diagnosis. So I would say to them, well, why don't we call this coaching at this point, and we'll switch around the techniques and the focus a little bit and work on more of what you want to accomplish. And yes, there are over 1,000 people that I saw, and there are lots and lots and lots of stories swimming around my head from those years.
You've also overseen a lot of other coaches in your practice, and now you also have the Life Coaching Academy, where you're training hundreds of coaches coming out in both life coaching and now over into business coaching. And throughout this time of both coaching and running your own practice, you've had dozens of coaches who have been working under you.
I have supervised dozens of coaches. That's absolutely true.
Is there anything that I'm missing that we should share with our people that they don't know about you?
Well, you forgot that I'm particularly handsome also.
Well, they can see that by looking at you.
I wish. Mr. Terry Dean was a pizza delivery boy back in 1996. Is that not true, Terry?
That is true. Little Caesars, $8 an hour.
And you also tried to do some door-to-door sales, and I think you had a really terrific sales record when you did that. How many sales did you make?
Well, of satellite dishes, I had a grand total of 0.
That's what I thought. You moved from 1996 and you started working in online marketing, and not only built $1 million business for yourself and sold it in 2004 to quote-unquote retire when you turned 30, but you turned around and became a business coach yourself with the goal of coaching entrepreneurs to earn more, work less, and enjoy life. And I suppose your specialty has been in email copywriting. You've stood up on stage and earned as much as $96,000 with a single email in front of a live audience. People meeting you or hearing from you for the first time might think that you sound a little bit humble or kind of like an aw shucks guy, but the truth is, I don't know anybody else, including me, who has supervised more people to a successful online business than Terry Dean. Do you know anybody else who's done more, Terry? I'm talking about personal one-on-one business coaching. I'm not talking about, well, gee, I ran this group of 5,000 people and...
One-on-one, I really don't know if there's anyone who's done as many helping online. But you got to remember, it's not just online that I worked with, and that's something that a lot of people don't know, is I've also attracted from my online business. They've all been attracted online. Right now, this minute, have clients who own restaurants, who are CPAs, who run offline businesses. So my business coaching practice goes to both offline businesses and online businesses.
Terry, I also work with offline businesses. I don't know if many people know that. I kind of developed a little specialty of working with attorneys. I didn't do it on purpose, but they started to gravitate towards me, and I think maybe it's because of my professional degree or something like that. But people shouldn't make the mistake of thinking that the principles that we're going to teach them apply only to small entrepreneurs that want to make money online. These are real business principles that work with real businesses.
And what's been interesting is, especially over the last couple of years, my business coaching practice has morphed a little bit in the fact that about half of my one-on-one clients right now, right about half of them are specifically business coaches to their own niche. So in other words, I'm a coach of other coaches, and that's what got me excited about this subject. As I mentioned a little earlier on, these business coaches are the ones that I've seen go from 0 to six-figure incomes the fastest, becoming a business coach to their niche, such as niches such as chiropractic or accountants or other industries such as that.
Do you think that if somebody wants to do that, do you have to be a chiropractor if you want to coach other chiropractors to business success?
No, you definitely do not have to, because it's not your job as the business coach to be a specialty at the technical side of it. The technical side is there, so you don't have to know anything about chiropractic. What you need to know, what you need to get very specialized and skilled in, is you need to get skilled in the systems to build their practice. So you don't know anything about treating patients, because you can easily ask them what patients they can help best, because you'll want to discover what patients they can help best to help them do their marketing. But you understand marketing, that's something that they don't specialize in. Here's something that people don't realize. Someone like a chiropractor, they will go to school for years to learn all the technical details, to learn everything that they do. All right? But very rarely, almost never, we'll just put that in, almost never, are they taught anything about the business of running the business. And especially they're not taught anything about the marketing of their practice. So there's a huge gap in their education. And that's where you come in on the business coaching side, is you fill in that gap with systems that can be used to build their practice.
What a lot of people don't understand about the professions is that it's not that long ago that advertising was prohibited and frowned upon. Just as I was getting my PhD in clinical psychology, professional associations and boards changed their position and said, well, okay, we guess we'll let you do a little advertising. But up until then, the thought was that if you were to advertise as a profession, then you'd wind up making claims that really didn't reflect your abilities, and you don't want people to come to you because you're a good advertiser. People should come to you because you get really good results and they refer their friends. That type of thinking, even though it doesn't really legally, formally permeate most professions anymore, it still really does permeate the education in those professions, and it leaves these professionals with a real gap in how to actually build their business. And what other people don't realize is that it can be attractive to bring someone else in who has a different tool or a different perspective on business. Chiropractors, when they get together, there's a set of things that they talk about, right? You know, like how to crack someone's back. Well, they never talk about it like that.
I wouldn't use that phraseology.
I wouldn't use that phrase with a chiropractor, but you know what I mean. They're showing you the latest techniques, and they kind of gravitate towards talking about what excites them. And they really want someone to come in who has an outside perspective. Even when I coached large businesses, I was very frightened when I went to coach, more of a consultant for large businesses, when I went to do consulting for large businesses, like AT&T or Lipton or Novartis or something like that, because I never went to business school. As a matter of fact, I got a D when I was in high school in the one and only business class that I'd ever taken back then. I was really frightened that they would see right through me and I didn't have anything to offer, but they really liked that I was a psychologist. They really liked that I had this different perspective and I could tell them why the clients might want to buy. And the fact that you don't have the background can actually be an asset, and most people don't think of it like that.
And for example, you mentioned earlier that you have lawyers as coaching clients, and you're definitely not in the legal profession.
I'm really not.
And nor do you want to be. The same thing, I have, as I mentioned, a restaurant owner as a client, yet you don't want me cooking your restaurant meal. I'm not going to be doing that. So the fact is you don't have to be an expert on their business. What you want to become is the exact same thing we started with. You have to be passionate about business and marketing in general, and you have to be curious about their business. If you have those qualifications, then you simply need to plug into systems that you're able to go in and multiply their profits and help them generate more time off, because that's something we didn't mention here with the ROI, is a lot of business owners, you're going to find not only do they want to earn more money, which is obvious, they want to attract more clients just like you do. That's the first priority in most cases. They also, in many cases, they want to get back a better balance to their life. They want more time off. You're going to find that most entrepreneurs are just totally overwhelmed today. And there's a lot of reasons for that overwhelm. And when you speak to entrepreneurs, you're going to get to know, for the overwhelm, it could be the employees that are overwhelming. It could be all the different things going on in their life, all the different marketing strategies that are overwhelming. This is offline marketing, such as newspapers and yellow pages and direct mail that's consuming their time. It's online marketing strategies like social media, which they understand very little about in the offline world. They're just overwhelmed. Plus, besides the marketing, they have to take care of the staffing. On their mind, besides staffing, they got to deal with the financials. They've got to deal with delivering their products or services. And it's just an overwhelming experience. And another thing that people don't realize is a lot of entrepreneurs feel alone where they're at in starting a business. I mean, if you've started your own business online, you've probably felt that. And sometimes you feel alone because your employees don't understand what you're going through. In many cases, it's almost like you're separated in a lot of cases from other business owners. Even if you network or you generate business from networking groups, it still seems like you're separated for it. And you need someone to come in and give you a voice from the outside.
That's absolutely true. And that voice doesn't always, it's really surprising to me. You know, it's impossible to be correct 100% of the time. Like, Terry, you and I both have a lot of experience, and I don't mean for us to sound arrogant because we've fallen on our butts a couple of times too, right? We have a much better batting average than the average person that would ask about their business, or even than the average business coach that ask about their business. But we've fallen on our butts also, and I think that because of the strength of the relationship and because the clients recognize that they do need that relationship because they are so alone otherwise, that they forgive you for that and they keep going.
This is a mistake that some business coaches make, so just take this as good advice coming out, is don't present yourself as having all the answers. You have advice and systems that help them grow, but you don't have all the answers. What you really need to be thinking about, and this does line up with other types of coaching, as a business coach, you're the one with the right questions. And we're going to give you some questions on this video and on a couple other videos that we're going to prepare for you, some of the questions that you want to ask. But as a business coach, it's your job to have the right questions, because if you have the right questions, you're going to help them find the right answer. Business coaching is not about stepping into their business and doing it for them. It's about coming in as a partner, as a helper, asking them the right questions and doing it together. Just to make mention, a couple of stats that are going on in the business coaching field is you can see that the Kauffman Foundation recently reported there's 11.5 million entrepreneurs in the U.S. alone, with 543,000 new U.S. companies every single month. That's 543,000 new companies in the U.S. only every month. That is a lot of new companies and new entrepreneurs started in business every month.
A lot of people who are jumping out